Hey, future RN, let's be real. The hands-on neurological exam can feel super intimidating, right? There are so many steps, so many new terms to remember. But I promise you, today we're going to break down the upper limb assessment into a really simple, clear system. One you can use with total confidence, not just for the NCLEX, but on the clinical floor too.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. We've all heard these complex terms, pronator drift, cogwheel rigidity. They get thrown around a lot. But what do they actually mean? What are you really looking for when you're with a patient? Like, what does it tell you if one arm starts drifting down when their eyes are closed? Or what about that weird catch and release feeling in their elbow? These are not just fancy buzzwords, you guys. They are absolutely critical clues about what's going on deep inside the central nervous system. So today, we're going to walk through every single step, literally from the moment you just look at the patient, all the way to testing their reflexes. By the end of this, you're going to have a rock-solid framework. And hey, while we're at it, if this is helping you out, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you won't miss any of our other NCLEX deep dives. Seriously, you've got this.
All right, so here's our game plan, our roadmap for today. First, we're going to start with a super simple framework. Look, feel, test. Easy, right? Then we'll dive into each of those pieces. And then, and this is the important part, we'll put it all together to really understand the why behind the whole exam, which is figuring out if we're dealing with an upper or a lower motor neuron lesion. And of course, we'll wrap up with a quick NCLEX drill to make sure it all sticks.
Okay, so listen up, because this is probably the most important tip I can give you. The absolute key to not feeling completely overwhelmed during a neuro exam is to have a system. And the best system is always the simplest one. So remember this. Look, feel, test. That's it. You start by just looking, just observing. Then you move on to feeling for tone with passive movements. And finally, you actively test the patient's function. This simple structure is going to make sure you never, ever miss a step.
All right, let's kick things off with look. Seriously, your assessment starts the second you walk into that patient's room. Before you even touch them or ask them to do anything, you're already gathering critical data. And to make this easy to remember, we've got a great little mnemonic for you. SWIFT.
Think of SWIFT as your mental checklist. S is for scars, pretty straightforward. W is for wasting, muscle atrophy. This is a huge clue that might point to a lower motor neuron problem. I is for involuntary movements. Think about that dance-like movement or chorea you see in Huntington's disease. Now, F is for fasciculations. Okay, you really have to look for these. They're these tiny, subtle, kind of warm-like twitches right under the skin. Super easy to miss, so get in there and look closely. And finally, T is for tremors. And you want to ask yourself, is it a resting tremor that kind of goes away when they move? That's classic Parkinson's. Or is it an action tremor, one that only shows up when they try to do something?
Okay, so once we've had a really good look, we move on to feel. Now, this whole part is about one thing. Assessing muscle tone. And listen, this is not the same as strength, okay? We're talking about the muscle's baseline tension, its natural resistance when you try to move it. And it's a massive indicator of what's going on neurologically. And here's what's so cool about checking tone. It gives you a direct clue about where the problem might be. So if you feel a lot of resistance, what we call hypertonia, your brain should immediately start thinking upper motor neuron lesion, UMN. On the flip side, if the limb feels kind of floppy, with very little resistance, that's hypotonia. That's pointing you towards a lower motor neuron, or LMN, lesion.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper into that increased tone. Because for the NCLEX, you absolutely have to know the difference between rigidity and spasticity. So rigidity is velocity independent. That just means it doesn't matter how fast or slow you move the limb, the resistance feels the same. Kind of like you're trying to bend a lead pipe. Parkinson's is the classic example here. But spasticity, that's velocity dependent. The faster you try to move the limb, the more it fights you. This is a huge sign of something like a stroke. Knowing that difference, that is super high yield.
All right, so we've looked, we've felt, and you guessed it, now it's time to test. This is the active part of the exam, where we're really assessing the patient's function. And we're going to break this down into three main categories: power, reflexes, and coordination. When we talk about power, we use the universal MRC scale. It's pretty simple. It goes from 0 to 5. 0 means you see no muscle contraction at all, and 5 is full strength. They can push back against you with everything they've got. But the most important thing here is to remember to always compare one side to the other. Is the weakness the same on both sides, or is it just on one? That's a huge diagnostic clue you have to document.
So to test power in a really systematic way, we check specific myotomes. That's just a fancy word for groups of muscles that are all powered by the same single nerve root. It helps us narrow down exactly where a problem might be. And for the upper limbs, there's a great little mnemonic to help you remember. You ready? C5, C6, pick up sticks. That covers shoulder abduction and elbow flexion. Then C7, C8, lay them straight. That's for your elbow and wrist extension. And don't forget T1. That's for finger abduction. You know, spreading the fingers apart.
Okay, let's talk about a classic sign of an upper motor neuron lesion, pronator drift. Here's what you do. You have your patient hold both arms straight out in front of them with their palms facing up to the ceiling. Then, you tell them to close their eyes. If there's a UMN lesion, you'll see the arm on that weak side start to drift down, and the palm will turn inward. It'll pronate. It's a really subtle sign, but it's so powerful because it perfectly shows how these lesions tend to make the extensor muscles weaker than the flexors in the arms.
So, after we've checked power, we move on to reflexes. You know, the biceps, the triceps, and a really important UMN sign called Hoffman's sign. Then we check coordination. The finger-to-nose test is great for checking something called dysmetria. Basically, can they touch their nose smoothly, or do they kind of miss the target? And then there's this monster of a word, ready for it? Dysdiadochokinesia. I know, right? It's a mouthful. But all it really means is that the patient has a hard time with fast back-and-forth movements, like flipping their hands over and over quickly. If you see either of those coordination problems, a little light bulb should go off in your head that says cerebellum.
So, why? Why do we do all these different little tests? What's the big picture here? Well, it's like being a detective. The whole point is to take all of these little clues and put them together to answer one single critical question. Is the problem coming from the central nervous system, an upper motor neuron lesion, or is it coming from the peripheral nerves, a lower motor neuron lesion? And this, right here, this is your golden ticket for the NCLEX. This is what it all comes down to. For an upper motor neuron, or UMN lesion, you are looking for increased tone and reflexes, a positive Hoffman's sign, and that specific pattern of weakness that's worse than the extensors. For a lower motor neuron, or LMN lesion, you're looking for the exact opposite, decreased tone and reflexes, a negative Hoffman's sign, and weakness that's more focused, often with that muscle wasting we talked about earlier. Seriously, take a mental screenshot of this. Burn it into your brain.
Okay, you've got the framework, you've got the details, now let's make sure it all sticks. Time for a couple of quick NCLEX-style questions to apply what you've learned. You ready for this?
All right, let's put it into practice. The NCLEX loves to ask about muscle tone. So imagine this. You're with a patient, you're assessing their arm, and you notice that the faster you move it, the more resistance you feel. It's pushing back against you more and more. What do we call that?
Go ahead and pause if you need to. Think back to that key distinction we talked about.
The answer is spasticity. And guys, getting this right isn't just about a test question. On the floor, recognizing spasticity is huge because it points you straight towards a UMN issue. Your brain should immediately start thinking about things like a stroke or a spinal cord injury. This is exactly how you become that sharp, critical thinking nurse.
Okay, next one. This is a classic reflex question. You're doing your exam and you flick the tip of your patient's middle finger. When you do that, you see their thumb and index finger automatically flex together. What is the name of that sign?
Take a second. What was that specific reflex test we mentioned?
That right there is a positive Hoffman's sign. And you need to remember this. A positive Hoffman's is basically the arm's version of a positive Babinski sign in the foot. It is a major red flag for an upper motor neuron lesion, and it is absolutely something you need to report immediately.
And let's wrap up with this because it's so important. Look, mastering the neuro exam, it isn't just about passing the NCLEX. It's about building that gut instinct, that clinical skill to see the tiny, subtle changes before they turn into a full-blown emergency. Being the nurse who notices a new pronator drift, who feels a change in tone, that's how you catch a stroke in its early stages. That's how you literally save a brain. What you're learning right now is a skill that saves lives. You can do this. You've absolutely got this.